Cerillion is a billing, charging, and customer relationship management software solutions provider. Its chief executive is Louis Hall. So, Louis, last time we spoke, you talked about planning up the value chain ladder and continuing to win deals with bigger customers. Now, is this what your most recent results are reflecting as the word record appears frequently in the investor update?
Absolutely. I think we're seeing continuing to see the benefits of that. So what you're seeing is some of those larger customers increasing their spending with us, and that's certainly responsible for a lot of our growth last year. And that's particularly the bigger ones. Smaller ones too, but the majority of that growth is driven by larger customers. Also, we're pleased to be able to announce a tier one customer sale, new logo sale about a month ago, and that's a project that we're starting now. It's already underway, but I think that it's another proof point of our ability to get these larger telcos to accept our model and our SaaS software as a service approach.
And how have you managed to achieve this amid challenging economic conditions?
Yes, I think perhaps we could overplay the challenging card a little bit. I think that telco is critical infrastructure, and just like we need gas and electricity and water, we're always going to need comms and the ability to have internet service at home and watch TV and so on is pretty fundamental. So I think it's not perhaps quite as challenging as the broader macro environment, but equally, I think when telcos are perhaps slowing down on some of their infrastructure investments, the next thing they're looking at doing is how do I better monetize the infrastructure investment I already have, whether that's into fiber broadband, 5G, 4G even. Then they would look at the enterprise software there that sits around those infrastructure investments, and that's how they would come to create more innovative packages to differentiate themselves differently in the market. That's all about using the software that we provide to them.
I'm going to be devil's advocate, just sort of cherry picking items from the most recent results. And they showed a strong back order book. Now, this needs a bit of explanation because to me, a strong back order book suggests you've reached capacity. Is the struggle to fulfill client commitments?
That's a good question. I think that the reality is that back order gives you visibility, and bearing in mind that a lot of the engagements we're involved in with new customers, for example, will involve implementation programs that will take 9, 12, or 18 months in some cases to complete. So the backlog is obviously spread over a period, and actually we say that about 45% of that backlog will get recognized over the next 12 months. So I think it's a healthy backlog. I don't think we're over capacity, but we're certainly obviously we're expanding resources all the time. So to do that, to grow, we need to do that. So I think we are healthily approaching capacity at any point in time, rather than completely overburdened or having spare capacity sat on the bench.
Because that's what I was going to ask. Is capacity and the ability to fulfill orders the biggest challenge facing Cerillion now?
I think to keep achieving the growth we're achieving, we need to sell fundamentally more software revenue. We need to earn more software revenue. And with our model, larger customers drive larger software subscription fees, because our subscription fees are based on the number of end users a telco has. So if a telco has 1 million mobile customers, it's 1 million times X a month. If it's 2 million, it's 2 million times X a month. So larger customers will drive higher software revenues, and those of course come without much of an incremental cost in terms of people. So capacity then isn't the limiting factor, because in reality, the services required to implement a customer with 1 million mobile customers, as in a telco with 1 million mobile customers, as opposed to a telco with 2 million, is not that different. But obviously the subscription fees we can earn are higher. So it's not a linear increase in people with revenue growth.
In terms of people, you've expanded in Sofia and Bulgaria, and there's newer centres in India. So what purpose are they serving, and are more resources of this nature being planned?
Right. So Bulgaria is important because it gives us a European foothold, and post Brexit, I think a lot of businesses in our sector are having to address that, because there is a requirement, a regulatory requirement in some countries to have support services, for example, provided from within the EU. So that was important to us. Also, it's useful to have EU passport holders because they can travel and work freely in other European countries where we also have a lot of customers. So really that's what Bulgaria is about. Having said that, it also gives us another base in which to recruit talent, and there's a lot of talented software and telco people in Sofia. In India, we've diversified to 2 other regional centres, really to sort of help counterbalance some of the overheating we were seeing a couple of years ago. That has calmed down a lot, but I think it's helpful to have those other skill centres, because, and they do address different kinds of skill sets. So in Ahmedabad, we're focusing on support services resources. In Indore, we're focusing on mobile app skills. So we found pockets of those skills in different parts of the country, and I think that's there's a virtuous circle, if you like.
So you've got this pool of talent, this virtuous circle. I'm wondering what other initiatives have been introduced into the offering this year. How are you future-proofing the business?
Very good question. So we're constantly redeveloping the software modules and enhancing the feature sets. I think one of the most interesting things this year has been the application of AI into the product set. So we've introduced with our latest release back in October, the first real application of AI to product features. And the particular use case we've introduced is the ability for telco product marketing people to write out in words the definition of a new product. And bear in mind, we're talking about quite complex quad play products where typically telcos will bundle mobile services with broadband services, with TV packages, and with traditional home phone service. And the combinations of those things, how many mobile users are there, how many handset options are there, what about different data speeds and different TV packages and so on. That can be really complicated. So what we provided is the ability for telco marketing people to write out in words, I want to provide this package, it's going to have mobile service, it's going to have basic broadband and then basic TV. And if I want to add sport, it's going to cost an extra X. And if I want to add basic movie channel, an extra Y, and so on and so on and so on. And when we hit the button, AI will go off and generate all the data structures needed to represent that product in the software and bring that up on the screen with all of the kind of colorful graphics as to how that product's constructed. A task that might take a good product marketing person a couple of days sometimes can be completed within a minute or so. So that's quite an impressive use, I think, of AI. But interestingly, I think AI is going to be as important in terms of productivity for us in developing and maintaining software as it is in the product features we can offer to end customers. So I think it's going to be revolutionary across the board.
So as you and I speak today, COP28 is going on in Dubai, and there's a lot of discussion about Gen AI, generative AI. So to uninitiated, what problems does it solve and what opportunities does it offer?
Well, I think the game changer with generative AI is it is about creating new things. So this is where AI, rather than just screening data or filtering data or doing programmable things that are predetermined, is actually creating new stuff. So, for example, it will write articles about software businesses, about the financial services markets. It will create images from its own vast data sets, but create things that didn't exist before. So that's the generative part of the AI, the creative part, which I think is truly revolutionary.
So going back to how we started, in terms of chasing those bigger clients, what's the strategy to do that? What can you offer them, and who are they now?
That's a good question. So I think what we're seeing is that the market for these complex telco enterprise software suites is coming round more and more to the software as a service approach. So what we're offering is a standard product for all customers that works out of the box on day one, and it can be upgraded pretty much automatically twice a year. And that gives you a massive advantage in terms of cost, because this is much cheaper than having a solution tailor-made to fit, and it's much faster to deliver. So the time to market is way better. So I think on those two major factors, we win, and we'll win increasingly with larger customers. But also just in terms of the risk factors, some of these very large enterprise software projects that telcos have run over the years never finish, and never complete, with vast losses in terms of sunk investment. So I think if you add on the sort of lower risk element and time to market and total cost of ownership benefits, I think we're very well placed to see that develop more.
So in addition to the return on investment that all your clients are wanting, what do all your tier 1, 2, 3 customers want? What's the emerging theme, the trend? What's the need?
I think that, well, increasingly, it's really just to reiterate what I just said, that they increasingly want solutions that can be deployed rapidly, not in 5 years, not at a cost of hundreds of millions of dollars, but for a few tens of millions of dollars. So I think those are significant themes that stretch across 1, 2, and 3. And of course, what's interesting is that 10 years ago, that was only really an approach that a tier 3 telco would look at. Whereas today we're seeing, certainly the larger tier 2s and some of the tier 1s now coming around to this view. And I think that's a really fundamental shift in the market, which is working in our favor, playing to our strengths.
So finally, allow me one more reiteration. Record revenue achieved as per what we learned in the most recent investor update. What's the plan to maintain this and make it a feature of regulatory statements to come?
I think more of the same. We need to keep winning these larger deals. We need to keep winning software as a service deals, which is the standard approach for us today. And we need to win more of these tier 1s. And in doing that, we'll increase not just software content of revenue, so we'll push up the percentage of, let's say, software, essentially mainly software license within the revenue, but also we'll increase recurring revenues. And those are really important things in terms of being able to have predictable, long-term, recurring growth at this level.
Lovely. Louis Hall, Chief Executive of Cerillion, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Sarah.